here with that last thought about this climate change nonsense. That we have to understand the forces we're up against. They're very powerful, and they want to keep the establishment intact. They want to keep this conveyor of death going through economic destruction, but through creating more and more extreme poverty where people lose their will to live, where it's literally killing people out on the streets of America, a land of milk and honey. And we're tolerating this crap, what they've done to us. They've desensitized us to caring about our flesh and blood, our fellow human beings, fellow Americans, okay? And it ought not be like this. But this is a state of affairs we've got. And we've got to wake up and smell the steaming pile of maggot-ridden excrement that has become of our nation through the economic policies of these evil people. And they should be sued. The Federal Reserve should be sued out of business completely. This is what nobody talks about, but JFK was trying to do. Okay, he was trying to get rid of them. He was actively circulating a new national currency. Okay, the silver notes. Look into it, silver certificates. He meant business, and look where it got him. Jesus meant business. He was a threat to the establishmentarians, right? The hypocrites. That's who they were. The religious leaders, the legalists, right? If that's religion, I'm anti-religion. Okay, that is not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a cosmic God's point of view perspective. That's it. That's the perspective we've all got to take in this matter. We've got to be empowered from on high to approach the highest offices in the land. Okay, that's these highfalutin politicians who illegitimately legitimize this debt. Okay, this is a bad thing, and these people, if they have their way, will never be out of debt. And this whole climate change business is just another way to make people more poor so they can burn less fuel. Do you understand the idea behind this? You can't afford to drive your car anymore. Do you understand why they want you poor? Okay, the more poor people, the less energy can be used. So that's the whole idea. That's the pretext. That's the pretense. That's the justification. That's the context for why they're doing this to us. Deliberately impoverishing us, and they got us our heads spinning. They're hitting us on so many fronts with the immigration thing, and everything is phony. The refugee thing, and then they try to say you're not compassionate, you're a xenophobe. And I'd say, look, my retort is, look, after we solve our own problems in America, okay, and that means extreme poverty, okay, that's got to be solved, then we've got no business importing more people. I'm very compassionate, but I say let's do this in an orderly fashion that makes sense, that is logical. And before we start telling everybody else how to run their lives, let's get it together ourselves here at home first, America. Okay, and these same people that are saying that we should let in all these unvetted, illegal migrants from all over the world, these war-torn countries, they've started the wars, these dubious wars. That's an industry. Think of all the people that would be threatened by solving extreme poverty. That is the biggest threat of all. Okay? And this should never have come to this point. But this is where we are. We've got to deal with it. We've got to change this thing. This course has to change, this trajectory of death and destruction and the inducement of extreme poverty and greater wealth and income disparity. This can't go on forever. This is economic regression, social economic regression. This is anti-progress. This is not right. This is clearly wrong. And we've all got to understand what's behind every evil in the land. It goes back to what Jesus taught. It's the money, stupid. It's the root of all the evil, the love. And as long as the people that love the money the most are in charge of it, we've got this problem. All you people that say, well, we don't need to get rid of money altogether. Just remember the price you're paying for your belief. Okay, and what I would tell you is ready your heart, ready your mind, use your imagination, your God-given imagination. We all have the wherewithal to imagine a world without money. Okay, and that's what you need to do, because believe me, you can do it. You may not be able to imagine a world where we're all walking around naked, okay? I can't really do that either, okay, because I kind of like clothes, to be honest with you. I'm kind of a modest guy. You're not going to catch me naked anywhere, probably. No, it's unlikely. But the point is that the money thing, that is a clear and present threat to humanity's welfare, and we've all got to get this through our noggins. It has to go. It is a competing God, is the way God sees this thing. It competes for our love and our affection and our reverence, our attention. It's true. I mean, who isn't a money lover? In all honesty, be honest. I mean, how can you not love money? It pays your bills. I mean, duh, stupid. Of course you love money. That's why you go to school and get a great education, so you have a great career and you have financial security, financial freedom. You know, just buy this lie, this social Darwinian economic system, hook, line, and sinker. And just believe, well, the best and brightest are at the top, and if they can't figure it out, if they're incompetent, there's no hope. Just abandon hope. Jump on the bandwagon, man. Become one of us. Just forget everybody else, the weak links, let them perish. Just take care of yourself, man. Join the rat race. Dog eat dog. Social Darwinian economic principles. Just go ahead and devour your neighbor. It's okay. It's okay. Do it through getting into real estate. Become a special interest group. Get into Airbnb. Do what you can, okay? Just become a lender. Okay, become part of the dubious warfare industrial complex. Become part of the crime industrial complex. Become an attorney or in law enforcement or whatever. Just something that revolves around the problem, because these people are bent on keeping the problems intact forever and just growing the problems. Get into the social welfare industry. Become a social worker, right? Do you understand all the problems? Get into abortion. Women can't afford to have babies anymore. So you be an abortionist or work in an office, be an assistant at the abortuary. Okay? Do you understand? Be a prostitute. Go sell crack. Okay, as long as it's illegal, it's going to be taboo, then people are going to want it 10 times more. There's going to be that much more of a market for it. That's the way it works. Believe it or not, like it or not, that's the reality. Ask any psychologist, will tell you, yes, it's true that people want those things that they're told they can't have. Okay, and you can say, well, that's wrong. They're evil. They're bad. They're rebellious. They're tough. When half the laws in the country are made, they're arbitrary and capricious. They don't make sense. They're illogical. They're based on, this drug this is a controlled substance. It may not ever have hurt anybody, but we kind of control it. You see, they become like the kingpin mafiosos. That's what so many of our laws are based on. So it's not immoral to break that law, but it is illegal. So you better fear us. And where's their power coming from? It's the satanic power. The money printing press. If the Federal Reserve said, no, we're not lending any more money, we're not going to print anymore. And the politicians, they said, no, we're not going to borrow anymore. Well, they'd be out of paycheck for one thing. They would never do it. It'd be like cutting their own throats. So they won't do it. And the Federal Reserve is more than glad to put us under more and more debt forever. Just enslave the people. And who's it fallen on? Well, if your numbers are increasing, it's not falling on your back. They're killing people. There is a price on everybody's head. They want to commit genocide on an unthinkable level, unspeakable level. Look up the Georgia Guidestones. Understand the monsters we're up against here. We've all got to come out of our stupor. They've mesmerized us. They've got us under some sordid spell of sorcery, okay, and perversion. They're diabolical to the nth degree. They're cunning. They're serpents. That's how they think. And remember, they don't care about conscience. Because normal people that care about their conscience, they care about their soul. They care about their honor and their integrity, where they're going from here, and answering to an almighty creator God for their belief systems and why they did this, why they did that. And the fact that God's not stupid, he's not going to listen to a lot of psychobabble in my head or your head or anybody else's head. This is serious business, man. This is about where we're going from here, about eternal salvation. And in the meantime, in the present, we've got to fight the good fight and know what that means, what we're after, what we're trying to accomplish. Winning friends over to the side of truth, the light, to God, God's friends. These are his treasures, his souls. And then they go out and do more work, okay, for him. They stick their necks out there. They're not cowards, because they know even if they get killed, God can raise up servants right out of the dust. This is the power of the Almighty God. We're very powerful beings. The human being, we're created just a little lower than the angels. It's our job. It's our place. We've got to put on our big boy and girl pants and big boy and girl shoes, and we've got to step up to the plate And we've got to say no to evil. We've got to say no for, even if we don't care about our own lives, we've got to do it for somebody else, our children, your children, somebody else's children, for the next generation. We've got to give a damn, or else we're not going to go to a better place if we're not found deserving and worthy. So give a damn and fight the good fight. Point out the absurdity, the madness, the illogic of the establishment and why they do it like this. What is the plan? Okay, what is the method of this madness? Why do they do this? Why do they need the problems to persist? Why do they need this debased currency through an ever-increasing cost of living, through this anti-progress, through this mass regression, socially, economically? This is what they want to do. They want the problems to never go away. And if they get their way, they never will. Our cost of living must go down. Our currency must go up in worth. Our sense of security and freedom must go up. Okay? Either that, or all we have to do is just wait for the wrath of God to be poured out in full strength. That's it. And I'm not going to wait silently on the sidelines. I'm going to speak out to the bitter end. As long as there's breath in my lungs and I feel like I'm serving God and serving humanity, I'm going to keep on yammering away. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm so long-winded. I don't mean to be. I wish I could say everything I have to say in a nutshell, be very succinct, and get on with my day. I've got other things to do, just like everybody else out there. I like to spend many hours a day listening to the Alex Jones Show. I'm overwhelmed now because he's putting out 8 or 10 hours a day. He wants to go to 24-hour broadcasting. It's all very stressful, but in a way I just let it go. Oh, well, I'm never going to get to it. I'll bookmark these videos, but I'm never going to have a chance. I'm never going to have the time to watch them, which makes me kind of sad because I'm a big fan of the show and I don't want to miss a tidbit of this very rich information that they have on the show and all these great guests they have. So I watch enough of it, and I guess I have to be satisfied. There's nothing I can do. If I don't have the time, I don't have the time. Because once a week, I like to do what I can. Like I said, I've got to speak out. Until I'm hearing somebody in one of these higher platforms speaking out, these high media places, I've got to hear people getting to the bottom of things. Just like myself. That's it, man. I'm just one of these guys. I'm very simple-minded. But I've read from the great economists out there, in particular Adam Smith, and I know the truth. I know what economic progress looks like. I know the difference between sound currency, sound money, and unsound currency, unsound money. I know that it's caused. I know that it's artificial. I know that occasionally you might experience disruptions in the supply chain, okay, which could cause temporary cost of living to increase, okay, but it goes away. That's what we do. We fix problems. That's what we're supposed to do. And what's supposed to happen in our economy is what happened with the VCR. That's what happens under free market, supply and demand capitalism. That's it. That's why it's a means to an end, is that things get so cheap that it's not a burden anymore. You're free. That's it. We serve each other. We find out that if we're all doing useful jobs for society, we're working 2, 3, 4 hours a week if we're lucky. And I say lucky. Okay, a lot of people, I don't want to do anything that's work related, like building a house. Well, we'll find machines to build those too. Okay, it doesn't matter if you don't want to do it, don't. You just want to be a sage and recite poetry all day. That's your business. But everything should be free to you. You should be equally entitled and righted by God. You were born unthinkably wealthy. This has to be our new paradigm. In a new age, we've got to start thinking this way and see that it's not that far-fetched. It's not beyond the pale to imagine a world entirely without money, without Satan. No more cause for the problems we have. We've got to work that direction. That's why I say capitalism is only to be used as a means to an end. That's it. But you've got to know what to look for. You've got to know what the difference between progress and regression is. And all we've made is regression in this country in the last 50 years. If minimum wage had the same purchase power as it did 50 years ago, okay, gold would be 60-something bucks an hour. Max Kaiser did the math on this, and you can't argue with math. There's always only one right answer, okay? That's it. If the mathematic problem was worked out right, you will have a consensus among the mathematicians that understand these things. That is the correct answer. That's the only possible correct answer. That's it. It's all calculable. Even in economic terms, they call it a market basket of goods. You can do the math yourself and see. So people that want to blame minimum wage workers for wanting a cost of living adjustment when your cost of living keeps going up, I mean, it's absurd. We know what came first. So why would you, let's put the horse, in front of the cart, so to speak, and say, okay, we can reduce wages, but this is not the way to do it, because that is the same thing, mathematically speaking. If you don't get a commensurate, proportional, equivalent pay adjustment and your cost of living is going up, you just got a pay reduction in the math. You've got less buying power. Your minimum wage job won't buy what it used to. And there's no logical justification for that. There's no righteous, reasonable, or any other justification. It doesn't make sense. But that's the madness they get us all prescribing to, buying to, through slowly boiling us in a pot like a frog, incrementalism. They got to do it just right, gently, just walking that tightrope of oppression on the people. Just keep making it harder and harder and harder, just to have just a semblance of a halfway decent, respectable standard of living. They don't want you to have that. They don't want me to have it. They don't want